What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're playing Sheoldred the Apocalypse in Historic Brawl. I'm sure you're all familiar with this card, but I'll go over it anyway. It's a 4 mana, mono black, Phyrexian Praetor, 4/5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Pretty straightforward. When this card first came out, you know, whatever it was, 6 months ago or so, people really downplayed how powerful it was. They read it and they were like, nah, this card's kind of lame. You know, it's not very good, blah, blah, blah. Over time, through Standard, through Modern, Commander, people have realized how powerful this card is. It is a clock and a half. First of all, you're going to get a ton of life because you're going to be drawing cards. But people didn't realize how much life they would be losing if they drew cards. So, you know, their brainstorm, right, is now lose 6 life and then do a brainstorm effect, right? Every turn they're losing 2 life because they have to draw a card. They don't have a choice. They have an upkeep and then a draw step, right? So they have to lose 2 life. So all of our cards are basically, they synergize with Sheoldred. So we're either drawing cards or we have the ability to make our opponent draw cards if we want to make them lose life. So we have things like Invoke Despair, right? Already a good card, but it draws us cards now. So we lose 2, or, you know, with them losing 2 life, we also gain life on those card draw effects. The One Ring, normally, you know, you can't put too many burden counters on it because you'll die to the, you know, damage effect of it. But with Sheoldred, we gain more life than we lose. So we can draw as many cards as we want. Pretty amazing. Staff of Completion. If we draw a card, it only costs us 2 life because of Sheoldred's ability. Phyrexian Arena, we net a life because we lose a life, but we also gain 2 life whenever we draw a card. So you can see, like, all these effects. Mono Black, you know, has a ton of effects that make you lose life for advantage, you know, especially card advantage. But Sheoldred turns that detriment into a gain most of the time. Another good one would be, where's it at? Black Market Connections, right? So you have to choose a mode off Black Market. You don't get a choice. It's not a May ability. So a lot of the times Black Market, I've died many times to Black Market. But what you can do, if you have a high life total, you can choose all modes. If you have a low life total, you can just draw a card, and then you actually, it just is basically draw a card. We don't lose life because normally you'd lose 2, but then you gain that 2 back. So you can see how, like, these cards really synergize with Sheoldred. Sign in Blood as well. So, how do we win with this deck? Well, it's essentially mono black good stuff. You can see Grizzlebrand hanging out in the corner there. I'm going to drink some tea because my throat's killing me. This is another way that we can take over the game. If we have Grizzlebrand and Sheoldred, we can draw our whole deck. Because we pay 7 life, draw 7 cards, gain 14 life, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards, gain 14 life. Peer into the Abyss, we can use this on our opponents to kill them, right, with Sheoldred, or if we're in a bad spot, we can use it on ourselves and gain a ton of life and draw half of our deck. The other Sheoldred, another way to win. Also just killing all the opponent's stuff. So yeah. And then we have, you know, some Planeswalkers mixed in here that are very powerful as well. Lich's Mastery, we can draw our whole deck. So let's see if we can get some wins with this deck. I'm going to call this video my palette cleanser because trying a bunch of different decks can be a little daunting. What I mean by that is, like, you know, making a new video every day, which has been really fun, but not all of them are hits. Some of them are not very good in the queue. So it could be rough, you know. So it's nice to play a deck that I know is really, really good. And black is my favorite color, so it's nice to be at home. Playing against Terror Grid, which is terrifying, but we have lots of removal. Essentially, as long as we get rid of Terror Grid, we're okay. They're going to have discard effects. So we have two ways of removing Sheoldred in here. So I think we keep... Or I'm sorry, removing Terror Grid. You know what I mean. Okay, no Thoughtseize on turn 1. That's good. Or turn 2. I know you don't need to put an end-step stop, but I've been screwed over so many times recently by Arena. Like skipping through their end step when I have something I could do on their end step, so I've just gotten used to doing it like this. This is irrelevant. This is really far away from being relevant too. Pass. The stop allows us to know that we're going to get a chance to activate our stuff on their end step. Okay. Liliana, that's pretty good. Go blank. Let's get rid of go blank. I think that hurts us more than the other ones. They're probably going to play Liliana and plus. But divest. Okay. Artifact or creature. Yeah, makes sense. They're probably going to want to use this as removal, though, now. Okay, so it has lifelink. Drew another land. That's good. We can get Solemn down and ramp. So we know they don't have a discard effect in their hand. So they have to draw one. Hopefully they don't draw like a go blank style effect. That would be bad. They play Terror Grid. Okay. Yep. Okay, oh, it has Menace. Gotcha. Sneaky. Mind Spike. That's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, we can't do both. So, do we wait? I don't think so. I think we just fire this off. They can sack their 2/2, and then we get 2 cards. That's great. Do it like that. Gotta be careful with Gaia Reach. Because if whatever we discard they get, if it's a permanent. Next turn we'll have 6 mana, so we don't have quite enough to get rid of... Oh, we do. We will have enough to wipe the board. They didn't want to give me a card, which is pretty funny. think they just play Liliana and plus, right? They could minus if they want. I would love that.
This fight finished before clutch.
No, they plus.
Don't overthink things.
Okay. Thankfully, it's still within range. Next turn. Nick those. Well, let's first get Liliana a little bit further down.
Watch it.
We'll draw a card off Solemn. Yep. Okay. I mean, that doesn't help us against Liliana, but we can use it to, one win. That's very good for them. Yeah, that helps balance out Liliana. Our deck doesn't really have a way to get rid of that either. So I think we got a Sheoldred next turn. The problem is they'll just minus Liliana and get rid of it, right? Now, if they don't activate Liliana here, them minusing 2 will cause them to have to sack Liliana. Okay. What does this do? Okay. I mean... Target... Oh, because they have protection from everything right now. Okay. Gotcha. So, let's... Field of Ruin... Ooh. Let's Field of Ruin their Field of Ruin so that we keep our Nykthos. And let's do this so that they have to minus Liliana. We can, you know, if they get rid of it, that's fine. We'll just get it back. So they lose 4 life. Their only option, I mean, maybe they'll draw removal. But their only option may be to minus Liliana. Ah, they drew away. Okay. So we can just play it next turn. Waste not. Okay. Cool art.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Portal wipe's not really relevant right now. Get rid of the portal. Damn. Okay. It costs 6. Yeah, get rid of you. Get rid of you two. So let's just keep doing this. Let's hold. Well, I mean, they're gonna make me. No, they won't make me discard it. They're gonna have to minus here. They're gonna draw a bunch of cards and lose a bunch of life. So as long as we can continue to play Sheoldred, they're gonna die from their own one ring. They can minus first and then do the one ring. I mean, they are a mono black deck. They should have plenty of removal. Okay. Are they gonna minus? They should. So we'll hold on to Dark Ritual. Take action.
Off you go.
They don't get my Sheoldred because I put it back in command. Resolve. Pass. My turn. Orcish Bowmasters. I mean, that's really good with their one ring. But that's all my mana. Well, if I... They can't make me sack it. So if I do it like this, right, that would net me 2 mana. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We still couldn't Bowmasters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Damn. Well, I don't know what the right play is. Orcish Bowmasters seems like the right play. Because they're going to want to draw more. And then we can... They're going to draw 4, so we can kill their Liliana, and... We don't have any cards in hand, so... Yeah, I think we just Orcish Bowmasters them. Let's let them put the trigger on the stack. Your target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a card from it with mana value 3 or greater. Well, I don't have any cards with mana value 3 or greater, so that whiffs. But now they know what's in my hand. So they probably want one ring. Resolve. Dark Ritual into what? Bitter Blossom? Okay. They did it. Why would you activate that? Oh, dude, why would you activate that?
take my zombies and leave.
I'll just cast it so they don't get a waste not trigger. Uh-huh. I don't want to activate Gaia Reach. Would you like to attack? My turn. Oh. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. So technically, Nykthos does add mana. Or do we... Hold on. Cancel. Do we add Necropotence first? So then we'd have 1, 2... We'd have 3, 4... And it would add 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think honestly we just play out Sheoldred. They're going to lose so much life. They have to draw a card here, so they're going to be down to 4. If they activate the One Ring, they die no matter what, even if they wipe our board. Okay. It's a good card, but not really relevant. They're gonna put another... So their hand is 2 of these. I think. Up to Fate. Not really what we need. But... let's get down Necropotence. Yeah. That's fine. Resolve. Maybe I should have chose their face. But my thought process here is that I'm gonna attack with both creatures, so they have to block with both creatures. Okay. Next. Okay, so they're just gonna kill themselves. I mean, yeah. That works. Well, we were definitely behind the curve there for a bit, but we pulled it out. If they have some way of getting out of this, at least we can necropotence them. But no, they don't. Okay. Even with a nerfed Bowmasters, we still pulled out the win. If you're still watching, thanks for watching, appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. I would appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, that was a little bit of a weirder game because it was 2 mono black decks going against each other, and Terragrid forces you to play a certain way because you don't want to give them any of your stuff, but that was a good example of how the deck can really put a clock on the opponent. We get to go first. We're against Rusko, which is Rusko's a really hard commander to deal with, especially because he creates, you know, the midnight clocks, which are artifacts, which mono black has no way of dealing with. Dark tutelage is not the... We have Phyrexian Arena, though. We do nothing in the beginning of the game. But I think Phyrexian Arena... They're Dimir, so they have no way of interacting with enchantments, so I think this is good for us. So we'll just take it. God, I want to keep this for Sheoldred, but... I guess we'll draw more lands. We have Ugin, which is good. We can get rid of their midnight clocks that way. We do have, I guess, one way in the deck to get rid of at least colored permanents. Dark Ritual into their commander. Yep, seen this one before. Okay. Yeah, let's just get down the Phyrexian Arena while they're tapped out. Or tapped low, I guess. They technically still had one blue with the midnight clock. The nice thing, though, is that Sheoldred balances out their effect of draining us because we gain life. Black market? Okay. That's enough of the 3 mana draw enchantments. So what do we do in this turn? They held up all their mana. I think we just Rankle. They can counter it if they want. Or destroy it. Brazen Borrower. Okay. Sure. They didn't attack. Strange. Well, let's do it again. Okay. Don't know about that play. Yeah. You can block. They're low on lands. Okay, they drew a land. Fairy Master of Time. Yep, very nice. Combo card. This is good for Sheoldred, though.
I do love a good puzzle.
Tapped low. Grim Tutor's interesting. Let's see if there's stick. There is stick. What could this stick be for? So we could do this and look at their hand. We could play Sheoldred. They probably have a counter spell. I mean, right? That's what it's got to be. This is 6 mana. That's 6 mana. We could Grim Tutor, and then if they get rid of that, we could cast Predation. They probably have a counterspell, but we're just going to try to get Liliana down. And if they have a counterspell, they have a counterspell. We still have a pretty good hand. Nope,
Let us
nope.
march into battle and make new comrades.
So we'll make him sack
From
their
battle to
dude.
the grave.
He now costs 6.
Ideas like seconds.
They had some kind of interaction. I wonder what it was. Okay, more card draw.
Fast as a puzzle. I do love a good puzzle.
If they activate this too, it's even more card draw because they're going to draw a fresh 7. So this next turn would be good to get Sheoldred down.
There is much the past can teach us.
Resolve all. They can't activate it. It's going to go off in their upkeep, right? So they're going to take all this damage. Plus Liliana.
Good mindless minion.
We didn't draw a land, which is a bummer. I was hoping we had enough to Grim Tutor and Sheoldred, but we don't. So let's just Sheoldred. They probably have a counter spell. No? Maybe a removal spell? Let's Painful Bond. Gain some life. And pass through the turn.
Time to improvise.
Yeah. You're gonna take a lot of damage here, opponent. Discard 2 cards. This is unneeded, and so is this. This is good against their planeswalkers, so I'm glad we drew it. Yep, draw a fresh 7, take 14. What is your ultimate? Target will choose a permanent they control and turns it to his hand, then they shuffle each non-land permanent they control into its own library. Okay. That's fine. I'll just keep Sheoldred. Yeah. Oh, they don't ultimate.
Knowledge is meant to
Oh,
be shared.
I don't know about that, opponent. This one allows you to take 2 extra turns. Okay. I hope they tap out. I'm gonna laugh so hard if they tap out.
There is
What does this do? Every one of the creatures you control go comment to draw a card, discard a card.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Okay. Why did you... Why did you do that? Okay, are you gonna kill your own Teferi? Interesting. Sure.
Stop right there.
I guess they just don't want me to attack with it? That's good. That's a good draw. Okay. Well, how do we do this? If they have a counter in their hand, we just basically have to assume they always have a counter, right? So we want to get rid... This no longer is in ultimate territory. Create a bird or more creature control to a combat. I don't really care. This one I care about a lot. So what I think we do is we lead with this. They're going to probably counter it because they don't want me to look in their hand. Perfect. Nope. Cancel. What we want to do now is get you down. Get you down. Do you have a Pactum negation? Of course you have a Pactum negation. Why wouldn't you have a Pactum negation?
Early, but
No
effective.
attacks? At least it forces them to tap out, but they still have ultimate here, which is a bummer. But our commander is phased out, so actually they could -12, and we can choose
This'll set you back
choose a
few
permanent
years.
to return to your hand. Wait, hold on. Choose a permanent to return to your hand. Your other non-land permanents will be shuffled into your library. Return to my hand. I guess it will return early on into my hand. But we keep Sheoldred on the battlefield because they phase it out. Which is kind of funny.
I'll think of something.
They had Pact of Negation. Wow.
It's a matter of give and take.
Well, I mean, that wasn't as bad as it could have been. So they don't have a counterspell, so we're free to do whatever we want next turn. Okay. Do we have a land? This is destroy all planeswalkers, which is pretty good. I just hope they don't have a spell pierce, but what are you gonna do? There's stick. Yes. Yeah, let's return you. And we'll do it like this. We'll make them draw. Done. Do like that. Then we'll go like that. They say good game. Yes. Yes. Rusco down. Alright, I know there was only 2 games, but it's getting kind of late, so we'll do a deck review. Maybe go over the finer details now that we have some games under our belt. If you're still watching, I appreciate you. Very cool. I don't take it lightly that people like listening to what I have to say. So I'm trying to make good videos for you guys. So, Sheoldred. Really, really powerful card. It's just at the mana slot of 4 mana, it's so good. You know, an effect like this would normally be on like a 7 mana creature or something like that, but at 4 mana, the ability to like pull yourself back from a really low life total and basically put your opponent on a clock where if they don't remove Sheoldred, they're gonna die because, you know, all the decks in Historic Brawl draw lots of cards, which is normally a good thing for the opponent, right? But as you saw in those 2 games, their card advantage engines is what killed them, right? So, and their only way to get out of, like, to draw into a way to deal with Sheoldred is to draw more cards. So they end up in this vicious cycle of like, well, I have to deal with Sheoldred else I'm gonna die, so I have to draw a bunch of cards to get to my solution, but then they just end up dying because they draw so many cards. So it's a really, really powerful creature. You are in mono black, so you are restrained in the sense that you don't have artifact removal. You have very, very poor enchantment removal. So that's the one thing that is the Achilles heel of this deck. We didn't run into the Prismatic Bridge or any decks like that, but those decks are really hard for this deck. You do have things like Invoke Despair, and I'm sure I have Feed the Swarm. Yeah, I have Feed the Swarm in here, but really other than those 2 cards, you don't have a ton of removal outside of like creature removal. I do have Ugin in here. I pretty much put Ugin in every deck. I mean, just in general, I put him in every deck, but he's a great source of, you know, destroy any permanent that's one or more colors. So basically anything that isn't colorless. But other than that, you know, you don't have a lot of removal for that stuff. So if you run into like an Enchantress deck or the Prismatic Bridge, like I talked about before, this deck does struggle. However, you know, the things that we do have to fight against those things are all of our discard effects, like these, that can take potentially problematic permanents. That was an alliteration. Potentially problematic permanents. Say that 10 times fast. Out of our opponent's hand before they come down. So that's kind of our preemptive way of dealing with things like that. And then of course we have a lot of board wipes to deal with. You know, like if you're playing against that Silencia Enchantress deck where they, you know, play a bunch of creatures that are enchantment creatures, well, you can just destroy them all with your board wipes. Obviously this deck doesn't play a ton of creatures. They're like big time value creatures like Solemn or Grizzlebrand or obviously your commander, but in general we're not playing a ton of creatures. It's kind of like a black control deck. So your board wipes affect your opponents a lot more than they affect you. Some other sneaky cards in this deck are Orcish Bowmasters. The first game kind of showcased how well this pairs up with Sheoldred. They kind of do the same thing. Even this nerfed version of Orcish Bowmasters is really good in this deck because it now makes it so that the opponent takes 3 damage for every card they draw, which is just insane. We didn't get to see the combo with where is it at? Peer into the Abyss, but if you have Sheoldred down, you play Peer into the Abyss, they draw half their deck and they take like, you know, let's say there's 40 cards in their deck, they take 80 damage. Pretty funny. I can't remember if I kept in. There's some other, well actually I can think of one. Sign in Blood. So target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Now normally you're going to use this on yourself. You're going to lose 2 life. Then if you have Sheoldred out, you're going to gain 4. So it's basically draw 2 cards and gain 2 life. But if your opponent is at 4 life and you have Sheoldred out, you can target the opponent with this and make them lose 4 life. So I think there are other cards in this deck that say you can make another, like a target player draw cards. And I can't remember if I cut them or not. This one, here we go. Eldritch Pact. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of cards in their graveyard. So you can use this on yourself, obviously, but you can use it on your opponent too. So it's situational. And if they have, you know, throughout a game, you get like 10 plus cards in a graveyard. So let's just say there's 10 in your opponent's graveyard. Well, it's 7 mana, but you target your opponent, they draw 10 cards, they lose 10 life, then they lose 20 life from Sheoldred if Sheoldred's out. So this can be a 7 mana you win the game kind of deal. So yeah, and then we didn't get to ever see the One Ring, but the One Ring plus Sheoldred is just bonkers because every time you draw a card you gain 2 life, which is, so you're netting 1 life every time you draw a card, because you lose 1 life every time you draw a card from this, kind of. You put the burden counters on, and so you lose the life in your upkeep, so it's a little bit delayed. But it's essentially you lose 1 life for every card you draw with the One Ring, roughly. And then Sheoldred like gains you all that life back and more, because it's not exactly equal. But yeah, that's an incredible combination. If you have the One Ring out and Sheoldred out, I mean, it's basically impossible for the opponent to keep up, because you're incentivized. Now this card reads, you know, draw a card for each burden counter on here, gain 2 life for each card you draw. It's insane. So yeah, that's the deck. I'm trying to think of anything else that's sort of important in here. Some of the lands are good. Obviously, Nykthos should be in every monocolored deck. And Gaia Reach Sanitarium. This is a great way to finish opponents too. You can pay 2. Each player draws a card and then discards a card, so you can gain 2 life and drain the opponent. So that's just another way to, one, get, you know, sort of loot your hand, get some more relevant cards in your hand, but also drain your opponent at the same time. And yeah, that's about it. It's essentially removal, hand hate, synergies with Sheoldred. So if you like the video, you know, drop a like, comment down below, tell me if you liked Sheoldred, or if you hate this card by now because it's haunted your dreams. Click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, later.